Welcome to Healthy Family Connections, the podcast for families wanting out-of-the-box solutions to parenting and relationship challenges, with your host, psychotherapist and author of Ending the Parenting Control Battle, Neil D. Brown.
Hi, I'm Neil, and I'm thrilled to be back bringing you my Healthy Family Connections podcast. I've taken a break from my podcast to produce an updated and possibly even life-changing parenting course for you. If you're struggling with an issue with your teenager or want to avoid the struggle, I've got what you need. Just come on over to neildbrown.com and start today. Have you ever felt stuck in the middle between your partner and your kid? Well, today we'll hear from a dad who does, and here's his question. My wife and our daughter, 14, fight all the time. I think my wife needs to back off, but when I tell her that, she blames me for our daughter's disrespectful behavior towards her. I just don't agree with the fighting and yelling. Our daughter is a good enough student with A's, B's, and an occasional C, and while it's true she's capable of all A's, I don't think we should be pushing her, but my wife does. Our daughter spends most of her after-school time and weekends hanging out with friends, and her mom and I agree that she should be doing something more productive like a sport. She used to play soccer, but she says she doesn't like it anymore. I guess it's just normal for kids to want to be with their friends. Mostly, she's a pretty good kid. Other parents say she's respectful and pleasant in their homes. Please help with this disagreement. Should I support my wife and push our daughter to work harder and make her keep playing soccer? Or should my wife back off, quit yelling and getting so upset and let our daughter figure it out on her own? Signed, Stuck in the Middle. Well, dear Stuck in the Middle, I'm asked this question in various forms very commonly, so you're not alone. Here is the problem. You and your wife are fighting through your daughter, and that's extremely unhealthy for your daughter, and it keeps you and your wife from working things out. Because disagreeing with each other is the pattern that you've established, if I give you both advice about how to address the issues with your daughter, you'll both argue about how to interpret the advice and how to implement the advice. That's what you do. You're good at that. But Dad, you're the one who's asking for advice. So how about if I give you a plan that will solve the problem? If, of course, you follow it. And if you don't follow the plan and instead you look for someone to tell your wife that she has to back off, you'll be locking the problem in indefinitely. And the biggest loser will be your daughter. So here is what I think you're telling me. That your wife wants your daughter to work up to her potential in school and be engaged in some structured non-academic activity, such as a sport. Now, what's wrong with that? In fact, that's exactly right. Your daughter is 14, and she still needs some parental structure to manage her life well. Well, what you rightfully don't want is the yelling and the fighting. Okay, that's great. Well, the way to get your wife not to yell is not to tell her not to get angry and frustrated and not to yell. Trust me, she's not yelling when she asks your daughter to do something. She yells when she gets frustrated by your daughter's resistance and lack of cooperation and respect. So here is what you need to do. Are you ready? The next time your daughter starts fighting with her mother and argues about what her mother is telling her what to do, go to your daughter and tell her that she needs to do what her mother is asking of her, whether it's to stay home and do her homework or clean her room or to apologize for swearing at her. It doesn't matter. She needs to do what is being asked. Now she'll argue and say, "Mom is so controlling," or "Who cares what my room looks like?" Or "I don't have any homework." Or "Mom yelled at me first." None of that matters. What you will need to say is, God didn't give you a perfect mother or a perfect father or a perfect life. We can all do better. But you have a mother who loves the hell out of you and wants you to do your best and spend more time doing positive things. Now, that's not child abuse, and you need to appreciate the gift of a mother who cares. How's that? Now, maybe she'll say other stuff that'll get to you, such as, I can't believe you're on mom's side, or you used to be nice, but now I've got two mean parents. I hate you. Okay. Your response will need to be, well, that's a terrible way to feel. But the truth is, we're both on your side, and we will be setting standards and making rules until you're mature enough to make healthier choices about how to manage your responsibilities and use your time in a productive and balanced way. Okay, well, if you've gotten that far, that's pretty good, Dad. That's step one. Here is step two. Go to your wife and say this, Dear, you've been working too hard to get our daughter to follow your instructions. It's up to her to cooperate, and she's letting you do all the work of motivating her, and it's not working for you or her. She needs to grow the ability to self-motivate and manage responsibilities, but for now, she needs to cooperate with us providing structure. Let's try this. Tell her what she needs to do as positively as you can. When she objects, simply acknowledge her feelings and repeat your instruction, nothing more. For instance, you say, no going out. I need you to sit down and do your homework. She says, I don't have any. You say, I hear that, yet I know you have projects coming up and reading to do, and there's plenty of studying to do, so this is not a discussion, this is instruction. No going out, and you need to get busy on your homework. Not scrolling on your phone. Homework now, please. That's it. Now, dear, if she gets upset with you or calls you controlling, just ignore it for now. Let's get her used to the idea that we mean what we say and won't be arguing with her. And if she doesn't cooperate, well, she can lose her phone and more. No threats, no fights, just clear and positive. And if necessary, we can follow that up with action. Okay? How does that sound to you, Dad? Here's the deal. Keep being the positive, caring dad you have been. I'm not asking you to become authoritarian in your approach. Certainly not fighting or arguing. Warm, wise, and clear will do the trick. If you need to take away a privilege or two until your daughter understands that the change here is real, well, that would be a much better way to communicate that you are serious than yelling and fighting. And if you follow this plan, not only will it be the best thing you could do for your daughter, it's the best thing you could do for yourself. Why? Because you might find that your wife is happy with you and maybe even back in love and feeling close to you. Could you handle that? So folks, it's easy to see the other person is having all the power and feel that we are at the effect of their position, their beliefs, and their behavior. We have the tendency to give up on our own leadership capability and even our leadership responsibility. So the next time you find yourself stuck in an unhealthy relationship pattern with your partner, your youth, or a work relationship, realize that you have the opportunity to change the dynamic by changing your participation in it. Thanks for your question, Dad, and thanks for tuning in, listener. And remember, you've got to take care of yourself. You need it. You deserve it. You're worth it. Bye for now. Hey, it's Neil here. If you have a question you'd like answered on this podcast, head over to neildbrown.com/submit and enter your question for me there. And while you're there, whether you're a parent, a professional, or both, be sure to sign up for my newsletter. Don't hesitate to pick up a hard copy, e-copy, or an audio copy of Ending the Parent-Teen Control Battle at your favorite online retailer, or my new online self-paced course, which gives you step-by-step actions to address your situation for about the price of a therapy session. Join us again soon for the Healthy Family Connections podcast. And if you're benefiting from this podcast, remember to give us a 5-star review as it helps us help more people.